Greetings, folks. Welcome back to Not Funny Guys Presents Red Dwarf Rewatch. This is our ongoing series of television shows, mainly ones that I find to amuse me. And right now, we're currently digging into Series 1 of Red Dwarf, a British sci-fi cult classic, if you are unfamiliar. But let's go ahead and jump into it. We're trying to get back on track here. We are closely coming up to the end of Series 1. And so we are on Episode 5. Confidence and Paranoia, directed by Ed By, written by Rob Nate Grant and Doug Naylor, the creators, and this aired release date was the 14th of March, 1988. So I was a wee lad when this came out. Let's talk about a summary. Lister contracts a form of mutated pneumonia, basically, which causes him to have hallucinations, which then become real, taking a solid form. This is all happening while the ship is beset by weird incidents that happen to be part of those illusions, and also in the middle of a space sandstorm, basically. And Rimmer, of course, soon suspects this could cause a lot of trouble, with a nice little twist at the end. So, let's get into some details then. So again, we have our fun Holly SOS. I love these. This one is about basically the realization that man is the highest form of life in the universe, and the lowest form of man is one who works at the post office. That seems to be a joke that never gets old. But Lister is basically being his general slobbiness. Holly interrupts him to tell him that that he's basically read the worst book in the world, Football, It's a Funny Old Game by Kevin Keegan. Holly apparently is very lonely, and he seriously keeps interrupting Lister's film to try and get him to help him erase some of the Agatha Christie novels from his memory bank so he can reread them. This, of course, has its own little interlating little hilarity. And of course, this keeps interrupting Lister in a way they can't finish the film, and then eventually he sort of goes back, and we find out that he's been to the officer's block, which Rimmer then tells him has not been decontaminated, even though it was on his to-do list. Apparently he has a daily to-do list. Rimmer's face, by the way, when he's acting out the fact that Holly is supposedly giving him a shave and brushing his teeth, and the face work that he has to do, Chris Berry has to do as Rimmer to sort of portray that, is absolutely just funny little gag stuff. Always my favorite. Then they get into a whole conversation about Yvonne Magruder, and this is apparently the only woman that Rimmer apparently has ever slept with. And apparently Lister reminds him that she had a concussion at the time. And they have a whole combo on love and everything, and Lister believes, and of course Rimmer doesn't. They like to take opposite views on a lot of things. But of course, Lister wakes up at 3 a.m. He is in bad shape. He collapses on his way to the medical bay. The cat can be seen walking around spraying things like a cat does, but he has a little perfume bottle claiming things. He finds Lister on the floor near the stasis chamber, but rather than helping him, he goes off to find food. Later, he's in the mess hall when Rimmer finds him, and he's trying to get him to come help him get Lister to the medical bay. And of course, he pretends like he's going to get up, and he doesn't. And eventually, Rimmer has to use the scutters because, again, he can't touch anything. Rimmer tells him of hearing raining and spontaneous combustion of a mayor in Warsaw. These are all stories that are like improbable stories that Rimmer has told Lister. The spontaneous raining and the mayor of Warsaw combusting. And Lister then gives him some sort of speech about Kachansky. He's still on about her. He never lets that go. Talking about confidence and paranoia is something in each of us. And then while he's back in his bunk, he starts basically having fever dreams. And they are becoming real. Well, Rimmer can hear there's raining outside their quarters. Holly, of course, is in the middle of reading Murder in the Orient Express. Rimmer walks out in the hallway and then watches what appears to be the mayor of Warsaw right in front of him combust. And so Rimmer, as he starts to talk with Holly about these things, the cat brings something to Lister. He basically steals his blanket. He brings him like compost. Then steals his blanket and lays down Rimmer's bunk because he's full and he needs to sleep. He's being very much a cat at this point. Rimmer comes in to inform Lister, now that he's getting better, that confidence and paranoia, his confidence and paranoia, are now alive, physical, and in the drive room. They are part of the mutated pneumonia. And apparently all the fish that fell out of the sky earlier, they're gone because the cat ate them, of course. We get to the confidence and paranoia, and they're living up to their names. Interestingly enough, the guy who plays paranoia is not very good, but the guy who plays confidence is a young Craig Ferguson. Like the Craig Ferguson who used to host the Late Late Show. Rimmer notes that he is still sick, and this is when the dust storm is approaching the ship, and Lister is entertaining his confidence and paranoia. We don't see much of paranoia because he's just a downer, but confidence is hanging out with him, praising his music, which is horrible. Paranoia is with Rimmer recounting all of Lister's most embarrassing moments. And then as this is happening, apparently Rimmer has gotten the Scudders with a needle to come and stick him and take care of him, I guess knock him out, but he sees him and it gets blown. Lister and Confidence figure out how to get Kachansky back without turning off Rimmer. They basically brainstorm a solution. And so they go to the quarters, and so then they also basically brainstorm where Rimmer has hid the holodiscs. They're under the solar panel just outside of their quarters on the outside of the ship. So then you see them waiting for the dust storm to end, and Holly is still in the middle of his Agatha Christie run. The Metacom is also smashed to pieces, as Rimmer finds out, and it turns out it was done by Confidence because he doesn't want Lister to get well. He wants him to stay sick so he continues to exist. Rimmer tries to tell him the truth. Confidence apparently has also killed Paranoia and Space the Body. Confidence and Lister then finally, in the final bit, go outside to retrieve these things. Confidence, in fact, confesses to Lister that he smashed the Metacom and killed Paranoia. I'm sorry, he didn't. He basically ground him up and then spaced his parts. He really did a number on him. Confidence then also goes way too far. He takes off his helmet in 0G and then basically kills himself by exploding. And that's kind of the end of that little nightmare. Kat, of course, is doing laundry in their quarters. Lister now has the discs, and Rimmer tries to talk him out of using them to bring back Kachansky, only that when he puts her disc in, all that appears is actually another version of Rimmer. Rimmer has tricked him. And that actually brings us to the end of the episode. And this then will be resolved in our finale of the series, the next one, which is Me Too. So that's where we will be going next time. We will be taking a look at Me Too. And that's me with a little expound 2 times 2. Because we will get to see the other nonsense that exists when Rimmer is not just Rimmer, but there's 2 of him. So please come back. Follow, like, share, join us in the conversation. I am going to start putting out feelers. We have a couple series of this to go through. They're not super long, but I do want to start putting out feelers for people, for ideas of maybe things, television mainly related, that I can perhaps dig into later. I've got some ideas of my own, but I would love to hear from the audience about some ideas. And what I really want to hear from you guys is underappreciated sort of cult classic television shows, something tasteful. Look at what I've covered so far. I've covered Venture Brothers, I've covered Red Dwarf, I've covered Andor. Something in those lines. Otherwise, I'm just going to pick something. Eventually, we'll do Babylon 5. I know that's going to be on the list, but that is a rather daunting task, but I'm thinking that might be a hill we're going to climb sometime in the future, because I got to say, that is an underappreciated, brilliant science fiction show. And we're not going to just do science fiction. We'll try to mix it up, but we'll see what I do. Maybe I'll put out a poll. But like I said, in the meantime, like, share, subscribe, comment, engage with us. If you're interested in movies, we're in the middle of doing a comic book summer movie thing over on our Off the Reels, the main pod. We did The Rocketeer, which was my choice from way back when I was also young. We're going to be covering Superman. So by the time you see this, we should be getting close to recording our Superman episode, the recent one that just came out. And I wrote on Substack about it as well. It's good. I love it. Maybe you don't. Then we'll be doing Spawn and then the Fantastic Four before we move on to apparently what's my choice of the next series. So that's over on the main pod with our movies. We also have the Wrestling with the Horror of It All, which is where Casey and Eric, my Not Funny Guys co-hosts, get together and talk about wrestling and horror movies. It's Casey's way to punish Eric. Casey is the sadist. Eric is the masochist in that situation, just so you know. And then ultimately, if you are interested in more of a academic freewheeling conversation, me and our Not Funny gal, Dr. Kristen, so Dr. John, Dr. Kristen, go over and we have our Thinking About, Not Funny Guys Presents Thinking About Thinking podcast, where we get into all kinds of topics. We should or will have the most recent episode up soon. The last one we were talking about gender dynamics, and then I think I've got some interesting topics, mainly stuff that we're thinking about. So keep an eye out for those things. If you want to contact us, the contact information is in the description for this episode. Please feel free to do so. Let us know your thoughts, comments, ways we can improve things. Always welcome. But until next time, keep it not funny.